A very good morning to all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Salam Sejahtera and welcome to SGI Asia Culture and Education Center. On behalf of the organizer, Soka Gakkai Malaysia, I would like to thank all of you for joining us at today's forum on peace and harmonious coexistence. Since 1996, Soka Gakkai Malaysia has hosted numerous forums, dialogues, and exhibitions to foster interfaith and intercultural understanding, reflecting our commitment to peace through education and culture. Today's gathering celebrates the richness of our diversity, uniting us through shared humanity. Together, we aim to cultivate courage, hope, and understanding, making this forum both meaningful and inspiring. Before we proceed with the forum, allow me to introduce the moderator. Professor Dr. Christopher Boy is a distinguished academic and community leader. He is a professor at IMU University and an honorary professor at University Malaya. He is also an international research fellow at the Institute of Oriental Philosophy. Beyond academia, he actively fosters education and harmony as chairman of Tadika Sri Soka and vice president of Soka Gakkai Malaysia. He also leads as the chairman of the organizing committee for the Lotus Sutra exhibition, promoting unity and understanding among diverse groups. With his extensive expertise, he is well positioned to moderate today's discussions. Without further ado, let us now invite the moderator, Professor Dr. Christopher Boy, and the speakers for today's forum to the stage. The speakers are Professor Dr. Khadijah Muhammad Kambali Elias Hambali, Director of Center for Civilization Dialogue, University Malaya, Mr. Turai Chandran, Head of Interfaith of the Malaysian Organization for Hindu Knowledge, Science, Heritage and Art, Dr. Wendy Yee, Principal of Soka International School, Malaysia, and joining us online, Dr. Awani Ghazali, Senior Lecturer of the Academy of Islamic Studies, University Malaya. The speakers will share their invaluable perspective on building a peaceful and harmonious world. I shall now pass the floor over to the moderator. Over to you, Dr. Boy.
Thank you very much, Kang Teng, for that very kind introduction. A very good morning to everyone here in this hall and to everybody who is attending online. So very happy this morning to be able to join all of you to discuss this very, very important topic on peace and harmonious coexistence. Peace and harmonious coexistence is a very important theme. In fact, the very theme of the exhibition, which is here at ESSEC, which is held in conjunction with this forum. So I want to just begin right from the beginning with a quote from the president of our Soka Gakkai International, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, who in the New Human Revolution began that novel with these powerful words. He says, "Nothing is more precious than peace. Nothing brings more happiness." The most important thing is how we can go about establishing peace. And that's the very purpose of today's discussion. There are a couple of basic points I want to emphasize right from the start. In order to have peace, although it's a big word, it all boils down to whether we are able to respect the dignity of each individual life. And not only the dignity of each individual life, but also the diversity of all life. All life is unique and precious. And not only is it unique and precious, it is all interconnected. So in the teachings that were written by Nichiren some 700 to 800 years ago, he uses the example of the cherry, the plum, the peach, and the damson, which are all different flowering plants. In the winter, nothing is seen. But each one will grow and develop in its own way, unique in its own way. A plum is a plum, a cherry is a cherry. A plum cannot be a cherry. And only because the plum reveals its beauty in its own way does it really contribute to society. And not only is the fact that there's beauty in the plum, there's beauty in the damson, there's beauty in all the different flowers. The other important point about peace is that we learn to respect and recognize all this individuality, and at the same time, to be able to tap and unleash the power within each one of these unique entities. And this is not something far-fetched. We know that in nature, there is evidence of this great power. In nature, we see, for example, a grass that's yellow because of a drought. The same grass, if a heavy rain were to pour, immediately turns green very soon. This rejuvenating power exists in all life. It exists in nature, it exists in the universe, and it exists in human life. And the important thing is to what extent we can respect the individuality in each life, and at the same time enable the power in each life to be unleashed to the full. This is the purpose of today's forum. And to illustrate this, we've invited eminent speakers from different traditions. We've got Professor Khatijah, who has braved a lot of difficulties to be with us today. Prof. Khatijah is not well. She's hurt her foot. And she's here at last. We are very grateful. She's been driven here by her daughter, Fatin, 26 years old, who is also not well, who wanted very much to be with us, but because of fever, she's had to remain in the hotel. She'll listen to this online later. But she's got a fever, and yet she came and drive the mother. So we've got actually very precious people here to join. We've got Mr. Turai, who's extremely busy with a lot of commitments. He's busy and being called to speak every day. I think his diary is full and jam-packed. But he agreed immediately to come to talk to us. This morning, he's not well. This morning, Mr. Turai had a headache. Mr. Turai has often had problems with migraine, and today he's overcome that, had a good breakfast, and he determined to come and share with us and talk to us from the Hindu tradition. We've also got Dr. Wendy, who is the principal of Soka International School. Dr. Wendy is also overcoming all kinds of difficulties and challenges. She's got beautiful, almost like rouge, but actually she's challenging allergy. But in spite of that, she's doing her best to be with us. She's working in spite of a very, very tough schedule, looking after the children at Soka International School, Malaysia, as a principal. And this is a new school. Being a new school, you can imagine how tough it can be. But in spite of that, she's done her best to share with us today, and she'll be staring at us plenty of examples. If you saw the introduction to this forum, you also see that there's another speaker, Dr. Awani. Dr. Awani is sick. Dr. Awani is not well for a few weeks. She has just seen her ENT specialist a couple of days ago. She's got sinusitis. She's not well. But she still wanted to be with us, so she's recorded her lecture. So we'll still be able to see her recorded afterwards. So I think we have seen here that people have overcome all kinds of difficulties, and I think this is illustrating the one important message of the Lotus Sutra, which is the lotus flower blooms from a muddy pond. I think if you had the chance to go around, you will see Ru Lian Hua Zai Sui, the muddy pond. And by the way, Professor Khatijah knows Chinese. So I spoke that because I know she'll understand. Her mother is Chinese. Her father is Malay. So she went to a Chinese school. And she speaks Mandarin. So in the lift, if people talk Mandarin, she knows. So just now I was saying that the lotus flower blooms from the muddy pond. In other words, the more murky, the more difficult the challenges that we have, the more beautiful the lotus flower. So today we know that each one of our speakers, all four, have gone through all sorts of difficulties, but the important thing is that they are here. So we're going to see a good discussion, and we're going to see the lotus flower blooming beautifully. So without further ado, let me now invite the first speaker, who is Professor Khatijah. I'll just briefly tell you that Prof. Khatijah is a very eminent scholar. She graduated from the University of Malaya. She's got a long CV, which I won't have the time to read through. But she's a visiting scholar at the Center for Muslim-Christian Understanding. She's also professor at the Academy of Islamic Studies. She's also a director of the University of Malaya Center for Civilizational Dialogue. And she has got a broad academic and research interests. So there are many, many more pages. But suffice it to say that we've got a very eminent speaker here. Let's invite together Professor Khatijah to address us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullah to the gorgeous people in front of me. And Alhamdulillah, thank you Professor Dr. Boy for the kind introduction and for the touching story for all of us here. Yeah, it's so touched me. Okay. All right, so today I would like to share about the wasatiyah. Okay. Before that, I would like to say a very good morning to all the respective panels here, Mr. Turai, Dr. Wendy, as well as Dr. Alwani, and for the Madam Joanne, the Auntie Cantik here. That's a compliment from my daughter, Auntie Cantik.
That's
Don't
Joanne.
get jealous for that, right? Okay, this is wasatiyah in Islam, the part of moderation. So we choose, actually, this is prepared with the Dr. Alwani. Okay, so we choose this topic to describe the importance of wasatiyah in Islam for the better society, governance, as well as a nation. Okay, so I will cover for the part one, so wasatiyah in Islam for better society, governance, and nation. So what is the actually means by the wasatiyah? So wasatiyah means the moderation or the middle way in the Buddhism. All right, is it correct, Dato'?
Yes.
Yeah, it is about balance, fairness, and avoiding extremes. This idea comes from the Quran and guides how to create a fair and peaceful society. So wasatiyah is especially important in diverse societies like Malaysia. So in the Surah Al-Baqarah, allow me to read that the translation of the surah. Thus have we made of you an ummah justly balanced, that you might be witnesses over the nations and the messenger of witness over yourselves. Okay, this is stated in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verses 143. Okay. This is wasatiyah according to Muslim scholars, all right? So from that surah, okay, the Quran calls Muslim as the ummatan wasatan, a justly balanced community. This is also presented by the Ibn Kathir, At-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, the scholars, the Muslim scholars. And they said that the Ummatan Wasatan is a justly balanced community. This means Muslims should avoid extremism and aim for balance in all aspects of our life, from religion to the social matter. The verse says that we have made you a justly balanced nation, so that you might be witnesses over the nation and the messenger a witness over yourself, as mentioned earlier. This teach Muslims to live a balanced life and show fairness to the other. How to understand the practical of wasatiyah among Muslim life? So to describe this kind of the practical of wasatiyah, please allow me to share my story. Okay. Well, my family contains 7 siblings. Okay. So the 7 brothers and sisters that make up my family were all born on different days of the week, which are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the following. Right? So those are my siblings because there are no more days after 7. All right. Perhaps there will be more siblings if there are more than the 7 days. Yeah, yeah. Okay, my first brother born in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right. See how creative all of my parents. Okay, my father is Malay and Javanese. Okay, and my father's side of the family has some Indian ancestry. And my mother is Chinese from Penang, Tanjung Bunga. My father is northern India, Minangkabau, Indonesia, Minangkabau, Palembang. It's where my sisters-in-law from. Okay, so my brothers-in-law are from Negeri Sembilan, Kedah, have a Mamak blood, and Minang, Palembang, Indonesia. So my late lovely husband is from Johor. She's bangsa Johor. All right? In the roundabout way, we are one Malaysia and one world. With different tradition, different faiths, and ethnic groups, yet bound together as a cherished and lovely family. Since I have 3 wonderful commanders, Hulu Balang, Panglima, my adored brothers, and 3 wonderful and beautiful ladies, the gorgeous ladies, who are always willing to provide a hand. I'm truly the princess. 3 brothers and 3 ladies. So I'm in the middle. See? I'm the truly princess, queen in the family, right? So getting all the love and attention is really fantastic. I'm so loved. I'm so lucky. Alhamdulillah. So based on the wasatiyah, fair, honest, just, and balanced love in this life and the next, I wish to explain what love is and wasatiyah from my perspective. So love is an emotion, right, that comes from the heart, an honest and open way. Because we're talking about the love. So my voice will be polite, regardless of language, country, religion, or ethnicity. God shows his love to us. It began with a profound comprehension of a loved one. Not because of position, no. Not because of wealth, no. And not because of a good-looking face. This is really important, actually, because we have to live with our partner. Okay, so a good-looking actually is important. Despite the existence of several religions, cultures, and ethnic groups, it was born from a pure heart. Okay, that is a fact. Love is blind. Agree? Blind, unconcerned, and accepting of someone's background as it is. Not so much that it impairs judgment. No. In my family, this is emphasized. My mother as well as my sister-in-law has recently learned about Islam. They are not instantly compelled to fulfill their religious obligation in the drastic manner. Rather, a period of time to truly comprehend Islamic principle. Taking care of one emotion is important to avoid feeling excluded due to the lack of a family. We as a family always take care of my mother's and sisters-in-law's families and frequently visit them during festival and public holidays in order to keep a positive relationship with their families. We always look out for one another and cultivate affection. This is how Islam taught us. Ladies and gentlemen, Please allow me to continue my story. A Cinderella-like love story exists in my family. When my late father found my late mother's shoes while watching a movie. This is real. My late mother, who was tiptoeing to one side of the shoe after watching the movie, met my father, who was faithfully waiting outside the theater. See? Man is always man, all right? Sorry. Because he thought that the shoe he found should be returned to the owner of the shoes. Blushing, shyly, and thanking each other, each continued to their destination after my father returned the shoes to my late mother. That was not the end of the story, no. They reconnected in the kopitiam a month later. The sardine chana toast and egg were accidentally served by the restaurant waitress, apparently altered the menu. Realizing that this is the young man who found her shoes a month ago makes my mother blush once again. Blushing, right? So it didn't stop there, actually. Like a strong match, they met at the school level competition because my parents are teachers. That strengthened their friendship. Wow, it's a very lovely love story. Dad is very gentleman, and that's really his character compared to my mother, who is a little aggressive. Took a next step, and Dad to meet my Popo and Yeye, all right, and introduce himself. Yes, my Popo was initially difficult to accept because of different religions, all right, ethnicities, and different cultures. Of course, different language. What's more, Popo is very worried if my mom is not well taken care of. So my father never forced my mother to embrace Islam and was willing to continue their friendship if my mother was not ready to follow him as a Muslim. This is known as wasatiyah, which the way a Muslim should respect, show the just, give balance to life, and love everyone, regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs, as well as other Muslims. Popo and Yeye, finally, a proof of strong love, so that Mom and Dad got married and had us as siblings who were likewise taught to always love and respect one another. This is fair and honest love and affection, not biased toward other people. Wasatiyah is also about fair and ethical governance. All right? Oh, I don't move though. Okay. My father, as a leader, had to make sure his families and in-laws' families, no matter their background, are treated equally. My father avoided being too harsh or neglectful. The Quran guides us to govern justly, all right? So that in Malaysia, wasatiyah can help ensure that everyone gets equal opportunities and fair treatment. It also promotes peaceful development and a stable society. So in a family with many different backgrounds, belief, culture, wasatiyah teach me as a Muslim to engage with other faiths. Okay? So with respect and understanding, it encourages dialogue between people of different religions to promote peace. This is shown by my parents. The Quran taught Muslims to have conversation based on fairness, kindness, and wisdom. This can help build understanding between different groups, reducing tension and encouraging cooperation. This is how my family did and applied. All right. Moreover, in my family, where different ethnic and religious groups live together, Wasatiyah provides a way to unite us as a strong and lovely and cherished family. It teaches balance and respect for diversity. By following the principle of Wasatiyah, we can create a society where people live together peacefully no matter our religion or background. Wasatiyah also helps avoid extremism, promoting a life of moderation. It guides how people should live, govern, and interact with others, a dialogue. The dialogue of life or interfaith dialogue and cooperation, promoting understanding. So in Malaysia, we can use Wasatiyah to encourage understanding and unity, making the country a place of peace and respect for all. That Wasatiyah all about. Well, history will repeat itself again. It seems because my son is also getting to know the heart of a girl with mixed Chinese and Indian. Right? Mixed Chinese and Indian ethnic backgrounds and a Christian religion. If Wasatiyah can be shown well in our lives, surely we can build peace, harmony, and universal brotherhood firmly. And Malaysia will continue to live in peace and achieve the SDGs of a peaceful world without hatred and prejudice. The world is peaceful, we are happy. Therefore, Wasatiyah is important in diverse societies like Malaysia, our lovely country. It helps people from different ethnic and religious backgrounds live together peacefully. Wasatiyah encourages Muslims to treat others with respect and fairness, even if don't know, fully understand other cultures or religion. But that Islam taught us. In Islamic teaching, Muslims are encouraged to be kind and just, even when they disagree with others. This helps create a peaceful society where people can live and work together. We call it the tolerance, right? Tolerance. My parents always remind me to appreciate life because we only have one. But in the teaching of Islam, we also believe there is the year after world, all right? So please, love yourself and others by spreading love and respect. When we see the world smiling, our heart will be at peace and bliss, like the lotus bloom in the mud ponds, all right? World is vital, but peace of mind and spirit are even more important since they bring us together in a state of serenity, quiet, peace, and harmony. When our soul and mind are peaceful, we naturally want everything to go smoothly and harmoniously. With that, I really hope that we can continuously live together in harmony and peace. So I will pass my baton to Dr. Alwani for the second part. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Khatijah. What a beautiful illustration of those principles in such down-to-earth and family ways. Thank you so much, Prof. Khatijah. So we are now going to welcome Dr. Alwani. We've got, as I said just now, her lecture actually recorded. So Dr. Alwani Ghazali is actually attached to the Academy of Islamic Studies of the University of Malaya. Her teaching, her publication and research and supervision are focused on many issues, particularly those related to comparative religion, issues such as interreligious dialogue, diversity, and peaceful coexistence. In the past, she's also served in IIUM, the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and she has also worked previously in the University Science of Malaysia. Her PhD was from the University of Melbourne in Australia, where, in fact, I must mention that she was the recipient of 2 very competitive university awards. And this is the Melbourne International Research Scholarship and the Melbourne International Fee Remission Scholarship. Her PhD thesis is entitled Dialogic Thinking in the Sirah, Its Significance and Application in Contemporary Muslim Discourse. She's very, very determined and passionate to talk to us. So let's pay fullest attention to the video that she's worked very hard only last night, to create for us. So may we have the video? Thank you.
Good afternoon, good morning, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for not being able to be present physically because of my health condition. So I'm continuing to part 2 of the presentation from Islamic perspective. And as you have listened to Prof. Khadija's presentation, we are talking about wasatiyah, or that is moderation, and how moderation can affect interreligious dimension. My part is going to elaborate a little bit more on how moderation or wasatiyah is perceived by the scholar and also from the Quranic verses. Okay, we have a philosopher called Al-Ghazali, and he's a very great man to not only in his historical scholarship of Islam, but also his ideas are applied in many aspects of life, especially in Malaysia, because his ideas are considered as in the middle among many scholars who have spoken about several sciences. One of the aspects that Al-Ghazali has elaborated a lot and has become so influential is the aspect of akhlaq. Akhlaq in Malay is akhlaq. Akhlaq is simplified as morality. However, I would like to elaborate here that the original definition of akhlaq as a concept is actually referring to the qualities of the soul. Okay, it's actually insight, qualities of the soul that are so strong, so firm, and from those qualities, the qualities produce something external. That's the human behavior. That human behavior can be good or bad depending on the qualities inside the soul of human being. So what did Al-Ghazali say? Al-Ghazali, when he spoke about akhlaq, he said that human nature has 4 different faculties, starting from the faculties of ilm or knowledge, then faculty of desire, faculty of soul, okay? And in each faculty of reason, for example, okay, faculty of reason, there is something which he called extremes. Okay? For example, in the faculty of reason, thinking, the thinking faculty, one extreme is called wickedness. If a person is too smart and intelligent, but the intelligence is used for bad purpose, so that becomes wickedness. On the other extreme lies the position which is called stupidity. So the person is not able to think because of lack of knowledge and did not use the intelligence. But what is in the middle is good. In the middle of knowledge faculty is what he called hikmah or wisdom. The second faculty or faculty of desire has 2 extremes as well. First extreme is greed, when a person has lots of desire, and on the other hand is total lack of desire at all, so passive. But a moderate amount of desire is good. That is called chastity. Or when somebody is well respected, respectful, he has the ability to control his own desire and put it at the right place. Like human has to sleep, for example, has to eat, but eating accordingly, not excessively. And then third faculty is the faculty of soul, something inside. Okay. The middle part of this faculty of soul is what is called courage. This faculty of soul is known as anger faculty. If it appears in the extreme, it is called rashness, when somebody is so rude, so aggressive. On the other extreme lies cowardice, or when somebody is too scared of doing anything. So it should be in the middle of this anger faculty, which is courage, shaja'ah. It's the nice amount of anger. Remember that I said that there are 4 faculties according to Al-Ghazali. What is the 4th one? The 4th one is what he called as the faculty of justice. According to him, there is no extremes in this faculty, just like all the faculties or other faculties he mentioned here. So I did not put it in the scale or the diagram. Instead, this faculty of justice only has an antonym, the opposite of the word justice, which is injustice. It's either justice or injustice. If we were to combine all these faculty and put it in moderation, the person will become a perfect person. Being a just person and having a moderate of all those faculties. So that's according to Al-Ghazali. When we talk about Al-Ghazali's opinion, it does not stop here about the human soul. In the Quran, there are also lists of characteristics which portray a good person or the people who are known as good servants of Allah. This is mentioned in chapter 25. So who are the good servants of Allah? To simplify the characteristics, I list only 8 here. There are many actually in the verses. The first one is those who are peace with themselves and with others. Even if others address them foolishly, even if people say bad things about them, they will address nicely. They will reply nicely. The second characteristic is that they use silence of the night in connection with Allah, or in Arabic word, they perform ibadah, which is they pray, they remember Allah, they say the names of Allah, they read the Quran when other people are sleeping. Not only the spiritual dimension is used by these people at night time when there is a quiet time, these people also are moderate in the lifetime. During the daily activities, they are very moderate in using their money. They are not so extravagant, and they are not so stingy. They are moderate in spending their money. Characteristic number 4 is that they avoid injustice towards the supreme being, in this case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They avoid injustice to Allah and to other human beings. Injustice in this case can happen when a person murder the other person, or when fornication happens, as mentioned in the verses in this chapter. The 5th characteristic is that they repent. People make mistakes, but they repent, they return to Allah and say the words for forgiveness. They believe in the hereafter, life after the next life, the second life, or the lives after this life on this earth. They do good deeds. Number 6, they do not bear false witness, which means they do not tell lies. They pass falsehood, they pass activities that waste time with full dignity. They do not spend time to waste. They do not waste the time. Number 7, when they are reminded of Allah's revelation, when they are reminded of Allah's words, like in the Quran, when they are read the Quran, they focus on it. They are mindful. They are aware. They are concerned with what is read to them. And number 8, they pray to the well-being of the offspring, not only for themselves, but they also pray for their children, for their grandchildren, etc. Moving on from the individual phase, the Quran also talks about the social ethics, how humans should behave in the social setting. This is taken from chapter number 49. The chapter is entitled The Rooms. Rooms, bilik-bilik, hujurat. In Arabic language, it's hujurat, which means room. There are many lessons taken from there, can be taken from there. Number 1 is to speak using appropriate voice, not to shout to the other person. Just use the volume which suits to the other. And there's a command as well in the same chapter to verify news coming from another person, especially if the person who tell the news is an evildoer. Why? This is to avoid doing damage to the innocent people. We have to check the news that we receive in order to avoid harming people who are innocent. Next, to make peace between those who are fighting in fairness and just dealings. So when there are two people quarreling, a real Muslim is supposed to make sure that the both parties are able to reconcile with each other. Next ethic is not to ridicule the others by telling that, oh, you have nothing, I'm better than you, things like that. Next one is not to defame others by calling names. Okay, related to the other one, calling names that are not favored. People feel not comfortable with the name called by you. That cannot be done. Call other people with something favored or liked by the others. And then there is also an order or command to avoid suspicions, because most of the suspicions, if we suspect too much, that's not good. Not good for our soul, not good for the others as well. So the best thing is to avoid most suspicions, because some of the suspicions that we have are sinful. There's a direction not to spy on the others, not to backbite the others, say something bad behind their back. That is considered unethical. And also there's an emphasis in the verse. In Arabic it says, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakari wa untha, wa ja'alnakum shu'uba wa qabaila lita'arafu. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Generally translated, simply translating that as, O mankind, verily we have created you from different nations, different tribes, so that you may know each other. So diversity is meant for us to know each other. Okay, so the last part of this presentation is the summary of what Prof. Khadija has explained in her presentation. It says that Wasatiyah is actually referring to the word, to the meaning of balanced, moderation, justice, fairness, non-extremism. And there is a concept known as ummatan wasatan, or a balanced nation, a nation which upholds justice. The implication of wasatiyah, or moderation, is that moderation can improve the quality of intercultural and interreligious dialogue, and it leads to national unity as well. Also, moderation leads the nation to uphold justice, to observe integrity, and the implication for that is good governance. Another angle of moderation is that there's always a call for justice in akhlaq, and there's a special position for that, as I've explained, using the framework or the ideas of Al-Ghazali, a scholar who always talked about morality. So justice is in a special position. There's no extremities in justice. There's only one which is opposed to justice, which is injustice. The balanced characteristics of Ibadur Rahman, or servants of Allah, that I read just now, indicated the aspects of human interpersonal relations as well. Because when one is peaceful of themselves, only with a peaceful self can the person react peacefully to the others surrounding him. Finally, the chapter of Hujurat, or the rooms, chapter 49, outlines social ethics, which close the doors for enmity through human cognitive bias. So we hope that this presentation can contribute something for mutual learning and understanding among us. And we hope that that shall strengthen the bond between Muslims and other communities. Thank you very much for having us. That's all from me. Bye.
So thank you very much to Dr. Awani, who together with Prof. Khadijah has given us a very, very in-depth understanding of the concept of wasatiyah. So thank you very much. We'll move on now to Hinduism. And then we've got here Mr. Turai Chandran. And as I said just now, Mr. Turai has got a very busy schedule. He's also been actively involved for over 30 years, working in multicultural and various diversified roles. His areas of expertise cover a diverse spectrum, including quantity surveying, cost recovery tasks, document and record management, planning and control, training and development, and marketing, and so on. At the same time, he's also working on a PhD. He's a PhD scholar. He's doing research at the University of the Americas, Florida in USA. He's already got a master's in business administration. He's got many, many other things, which I say, just like Prof. Khatijah, will go on and on. But at the same time, he's also a member of INSAF, the Interfaith Spiritual Fellowship of Pure Life Society. He's the head of Interfaith Section Moksha. He's also the deputy chairman of Kavya. And he's been a motivating speaker even before he started his job, his long-term job in oil and gas. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Turai to share with us his thoughts. Let's welcome Mr. Turai.
Thank you, bro. Okay, if you look at the slide, okay, on the screen, at the background you can see so many hands there, okay, different colors. That is in Malaysia, not only in Malaysia, worldwide, okay, globally, this is what we see. And if you can see the sunshine there, it is equal to everyone. At the same time, the rain is equal for everyone. Okay? This is something, I think, during our tour yesterday. Okay? So it's up to us whether we are getting the abundance of the nature or not. Okay? It depends on the individual. Okay, my name is actually Chandiran Duraisamy. aka also known as Durai Chandran. Okay, actually I am a Bangsa Johor also. I was born and brought up in Labis, Segamat. Okay, and I'll say I went to KL to study. Okay, and from there onward, I have to settle there after meeting my lovely wife, Vasanti. So no turn back. Yeah. Okay, now, okay, let me start with the introduction, okay, of Hinduism. Yeah, I'm representing Hinduism. And actually, the original name, actually, I wanted to start it with some stories, all that, but I don't know whether the time will permit. Okay, the original name of Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma. Okay, Sanatana means eternal. That means past, present, and future of forever. Okay, forever it is there. So Dharma, I believe many of you understand what's the meaning of Dharma. Okay, it is very similar to Buddhism also. Okay, it's a lot of meaning there. And I think it's difficult for you to adjust this. I'll be moving. Usually I'll be walking around. Okay, fine. So the Dharma in our concept here in Hinduism, what we're going to explain is righteousness. Okay? And, okay, so our first concept in Hinduism is one God concept. So many will be surprised. How come you say one God? When I go to temple and see there are so many statues there, different colors, different shapes, different creatures, you know. But actually, it is all stories, okay? The actual thing is only one God concept which is stated in the scripture itself. Okay, you can see the scripture there. So it is mentioned as Ekam Sad Vipra Bahuta Vadanti, with your permission. So it's from Rig Veda. Okay, so I've given the meaning there. So it is about, what it's trying to say is that God is one. The wise people, the masters, the prophets, the sages, they explained God or the truth in many ways. So that's why in Hinduism, there's no problem for Hindus or a person of dharmic to accept any teachings. Because for us, we feel all are the same. Okay? All talk about the truth in different ways. Okay, the second one, we believe in Vedas. Okay? Just like any other religion, in Hinduism, we have our scriptures which are divided to two. The first part is called Shruti. Shruti is something came direct from God. Okay? Just like dithronkan. Okay? So there's no author for that. And that is Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda or Atharvana Veda. Okay? Sometimes the way we pronounce will be different here. Okay, and the rest are Smriti. Okay, these Smritis we have author, which is based on the main Vedas. Okay, so in Smritis we have various Vedas, sub-Vedas, which are Vedangas, Idihasa. The popular ones are Mahabharata and Ramayana. And then we have Dharma Sastra. Sastra means Sastra, okay? It is a discipline, way of life. We have Puranas, 18 Puranas, and Kavyas, okay? And it doesn't stop there. It is continuously until today or in the future, it will continue as what was mentioned in the first concept, okay? And this, we have specific authors for all these sub-Vedas. And the third one is Dharma and Karma. Again, I'm very sure all are very familiar with these words, okay? So, I mean, actually, generally, when you see Hinduism and Buddhism, a lot of connectivity. You can see a lot of links, a lot of similarities, okay? Maybe certain things in the practice or the maybe during different time, different teaching, okay, will be differ. Okay, so Dharma here means ethical conduct, the dharmic way of life, the do's and don'ts. This is what we see in Dharma. And then talking about karma, the karmic effect, action and thoughts and the returns. Okay, balasan. Okay, we have ahimsa. Okay, so yesterday even during the tour we saw something about King Ashoka. Okay, after the realization. Okay, so you know what is ahimsa? Non-violence or no harm. So when talking about today's life, okay, let's don't go so far, okay? We are talking about what's happening today, what we need today, okay? So it's something like no self-harm, because people, we might be thinking harm means just harm to others, even to ourselves. We shouldn't harm ourselves, okay? So it is self-harm and to others, physically, mentally, and emotionally. This is where we can see peace and harmony. It starts from us, okay? And moksha, ultimate freedom and liberation. Okay, so this is just like just now in the Islam explanation, talk about the next birth. Or okay, so in Hinduism we have the cycle of birth. Okay, you have to be reborn again and again and again until you attain moksha. Okay. So this is where you end the cycle of rebirth. This is where you merge with the nature or universe or the supreme. Okay, talking about peace and harmony in Malaysia. Okay, what is so good about Malaysia? Food, I will come later. Okay, so we are multi-religious and multi-faith. Okay. So you can see multi-religious and multi-faith in many countries. But in Malaysia, you see most of the religion is here, and with different culture, different language spoken, okay? Faith still, we are together. Okay? Some of the small problems, just ignore, that's temporary. Okay, so what you can see in this slides here, even the beads, using of the beads, in all the religion, we have that. Only thing, when you chant differently. But I believe even the chanting also, finally, the the essence or the meaning will be the same. Okay. Okay. The next thing is our tradition. Okay, and traditional and multicultural. Okay, we have dance. We have different languages. Okay, different activities. And followed by traditional and lifestyle. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay. So we have different kind of food. Whoever come to Malaysia, they can enjoy everything, not only in Malaysia, not only Asian food from the whole world. Okay, you can get it in Malaysia. And I'm very sure all Malaysian or whoever are here, you would have enjoyed, okay, Indian food, Chinese food, Malay food. And and now we have like kind of fusion. Okay, we mix Western and Eastern food. Okay, traditional. Okay, fine. Okay, and this is the opportunity to understand and learn more. Okay, I'm not talking only about food, but all other cultural activities also. Okay, at the same time, we are also facing some challenges. Okay. So we might ask why we want to talk about this. Yeah, we need to, okay? So the challenges here is the increased tension and social divisions, okay, which can threaten the peace and stability in Malaysia, okay, in our nation, and also in the world. And a lack of social cohesion, which can weaken the bond that unites this nation. So we are not going to go detail into it because it might be a bit sensitive, okay? So we are peace-loving people. We are in the interfaith. We are interfaith community. So let's talk moderately, okay? Okay, factors causing social divisions, which will affect the unity, okay, of the peace and harmony. Diversity. Actually, diversity is our strength, the same time our weakness also, if we don't understand it. If we don't look, it's something like a coin, okay? Two sides of a coin. So for example, I will say one quote from a very popular singer, okay? Not the exact word, but I'll say, okay. He said, some people enjoy the rain. Some people sing in the rain. I mean, the meaning is something like that. Some people dance in the rain. Some people appreciate the rain. Many people got wet. So those who appreciate are connected with the nature. They are looking at the right side. Those who got wet are not connected. And this was from the popular Bob Marley. Any Bob Marley fan here? Okay. All right. Actually, he's a philosopher, I would say. And okay, let's see, like even today's community. Like those days, when I say those days, I mean, okay, I'm 60 now, okay? I'm 60. So during our time, when it rained, we will run from the house to play in the rain. But today, when it rains, all the children will run for the shade. So we appreciate rain those days. Nowadays, they are scared of get sickness or what. So what we have to do? Want to chase out the children from the house and rain? No, just teach them to connect with the nature, that's all, okay? Of course, we have to take precaution. Okay, so when talking about diversity, okay, if you don't look at it in right or proper perspective, it will cause problem. We are looking, we are witnessing all that. Okay, inequality. Okay, so this is also another issue we are facing, not only here, this is global issue, okay? So if we follow, let it be any religion, if we follow the religious teaching, definitely this inequality will not be there. I'm very assured of that, okay? I'm not talking only about Hinduism, all the religion, okay? And communication. How are we communicating with other people? Is there any communication? Even at home. Even at home, we are just communicating through our phone, you know. We are communicating to the whole world through internet, but not to the person beside us. We don't talk to our neighbors. Okay, and shared values, okay? All the good values. Each and every community or religion have human values or spiritual values. Are we talking about that? But we go out, when we meet friends, we talk about football, we talk about movies, we talk about other games or makan, but the values, very less. And I can see only this kind of community in Soka Gakkai, okay? A lot of human values, divine values are being shared, okay? So there are other organizations, NGOs, I'll say from different faith, okay? So they have this, but what happened is only within the community. So we should have all races being together, like what Soka Gakkai is doing, okay? And the next one is the leadership. This is very, very important. We are definitely loving people, okay? Or peace-loving people. We are harmonious people. All agree with that? Yes. Okay, we can see that, whether in school, among the students, at the working place, with our colleagues, okay? But the problem arises only when the leaders who are not responsible, I won't say all leaders, okay? The irresponsible leaders who are the ones who create problem. I'm not talking political or any organization or any community leaders, okay? Generally. Again, I have to save myself. Okay? So when leaders have a right vision, okay, for the nation to lead us towards peace and harmony, definitely we will achieve our goals, okay? Our goals, our community goals. Okay, and what are the solutions? Okay, let's see quickly, okay? And policy initiatives, okay? Whatever we say, the problems or whatever we know, okay? The efforts need to be taken by community leaders, civil servants. They are very important people. Educators, like what we see on the stage here, and many of you here. The parents, start from home, and the public. We have to be a civic-minded citizens, okay? And the next is interfaith dialogues, like what we are experiencing now, the cultural exchange programs and multi-community engagement projects. Okay, all these have and can, okay, in mutual, make positive contribution towards peace and harmony. And more sports and cultural events involving all races should be held. If we see during the 90s, our football match, that's where we see the unity. Today, when you see all the state match, no Malaysians. One or two Malaysians, the rest are all foreigners. How to create unity here? I mean, this, again, the leaders have to think about this. We can't do anything. We can just voice out. Okay, the culture of open house. Let it be Deepavali, Hari Raya, Christmas, Vesak Day, anything. Those days, we invite our friends to our home, to our house to enjoy the celebration. But nowadays, it happens only in the political party headquarters or certain community center. So we must encourage this back, okay, to the house. When I celebrate Deepavali, I don't invite any Hindus to my house. Okay? Because all the Hindus will be celebrating. So I'll be calling the Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Chinese, all to the house. And we celebrate together. We enjoy that more than any other celebration. Okay? So that should happen. And those days, I still remember, during festival time, like early morning in Deepavali, okay, all just fresh up, and then we will be ready to carry the tray of all the kuehs to pass to the neighbors one by one. This happened in all, I don't know, I'm talking about Johor also, in Labis, in my hometown. That's what we do. I believe everyone do that also. The same thing happened during Chinese New Year, because my neighbors are all Chinese. Okay, the same thing happened. So when during Deepavali, we have to give to all the 10, 20 houses. But during Chinese New Year, all the houses, we will have so much of food. Okay, those are the happy moments, okay? We wish to see all that again, inshallah. Okay, and continue with Rukun Tetangga. Okay, today many people don't know what is Rukun Tetangga. So in the community, we need to bring back this Rukun Tetangga, okay? Those who don't know what is Rukun Tetangga, please ask those who know. Well, I don't want to explain. Okay, and civic studies. Those days we have the subject called civic in the school, okay? And now I see it is already changed. They have moral studies and they have religious-based studies, which is good, but in a way it also dividing the people, the students. Okay, and understanding and practicing Rukun Negara. Actually, today's relate to today's topic, I wanted to prepare my whole speech on Rukun Negara, but it's okay. But actually, why I say Rukun Negara was created not in Parliament. Okay, it was created in 1971 by all the community and religious leaders to guarantee the peace and harmony in Malaysia after the Black incident during 1969. Okay, and how many of you still remember the 5 principles of Rukun Negara? Okay, what is number 2? You get the prize. Oh no, this one. This is mine.
Keluhuran perlembagaan. Keluhuran perlembagaan.
Oh, that is fourth. That is third.
Third.
Second one is.
Kepada
Okay. Like those days, all will remember because in our school notebook at the back page we have. Nowadays, I don't know for what reason they have taken out that. Okay. So we should encourage the government, okay, the education department to bring back all this. That is something very good. Even during all the assembly, I don't know what nowadays in the school, during the assembly, they still have the Rukunagara reading. They have, huh? Okay, that's good about it. Okay, and talking about the media, okay, the first thing, ourselves, instead of spreading viral negative messages, okay, we are very happy when we receive something bad, immediately we send to all the groups, okay, which can challenge the peace and harmony. Everyone should share good messages on social media, okay. So what good message will share? Only the good morning messages. I'm sure everyone experiencing that. Sometimes I won't read. I know, okay, I see, okay, all these people send, okay, done, finish. Okay, and the media, talking about the media coverage, okay. I don't know, is there any media today here?
No. No.
No? Why? Because there's no minister here. There's no politician here. So media should do coverage in unity and harmony programs, like this kind of program, and must practice more integrity in their work. It's not that taking the news here and when come out, they're filtered and edited, it come out another news. So this happened just recently, a few months ago. I have a very bad experience in a interfaith program. So we did something for a group of students from different religion, I mean other non-Hindus. We show them what Hinduism is. And after the explanation, actually I was there, I am directly involved in that program. After the explanation, what happened was the students who shared their experience, okay, it's just like they feel very good. They feel very good in sense that they can see a lot of similarities. But later part, the media from different group, from both group, from Hindu and also another religion, they all say, how can this happen? How can the religion be the same? You know, this kind of thing. But fortunately, the minister of the unity supported us. Okay, so no issue about that. Okay, I have to make it fast. Okay, on the Hindu perspective, just now was a general perspective, how we can find solution. On Hindu perspective, talking about globalization and Keluarga Malaysia, okay. So we have something, okay. Again, this is in Tamil language. Yadum ure yavarum kelir, Tidum nandrum pirar tara vara, okay. So the meaning is, all the places of the world are my living place, are my home. And all the people worldwide are my relatives. All the good or bad doesn't come from other people. It's all within us. I'm telling this because why? In Hindu or in the Hindu culture, okay, all these are there. It seems I'm talking about the Hindu. Forgive and accept. Inna Seidarai Oruthal Avarnana Nannayam Seidu Vidal. I'm sure you don't understand, right? Okay, the meaning is when someone hurts you or harms you physically, mentally, or emotionally, just forgive them and make them realize their mistake by doing good things to them, not punish them or take revenge. Okay, I believe again all the religion teaching the same thing. And integrity, just now I'll talk about this integrity. So again, on this Tirukural 391, Karka Kasadara Karpavai Katrapin Nirka Adarke Taga. Again, you don't understand, okay? Learn thoroughly, okay? So that means what it's trying to say is, whatever you have learned, okay, you can learn. whatever knowledge, okay? But make sure it's a good knowledge, okay? Take the good knowledge and just don't stay there. You have to practice, okay? This is called integrity. Whatever you have learned, you put it in your life. That means walk the talk. And equality and justice. So this is a very famous Sanskrit mantra which is done by all the Hindus after the prayer or meditation. It is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti. Okay, the meaning is, let my good thoughts, okay, whatever my thought, my prayer, my meditation, the benefit of my prayer, let it enjoy by all the, who? All the creatures, not only human, not only me, not only my family, not only my community, not only my nation, it's all the world and all the life. Okay? And with that, my conclusion is, okay, by recognizing and addressing these issues, okay, whatever we have explained, and challenges from a religious point of view, Malaysia can build a brighter future and achieve peace, harmony, and unity. Okay? Okay, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thiru, for covering such a wide topic and so many different areas. Thank you so much, bringing in even the Rukun Negara. Thank you very much. Next, and our final speaker is Dr. Wendy Yee, who is principal of SISM, Soka International School of Malaysia. She's a distinguished educator. She specializes particularly in youth development, inter-ethnic relations, and global citizenship education and peace education. She has over 2 decades of teaching and research experience from higher education institutions, during which time she has made significant contributions to nurturing future leaders and promoting peace. So with that, I would like to invite Dr. Wendy to share with us.
Thank you. Very good morning to Professor Dr. Boy, our moderator, my fellow panelists, Prof. Khatijah, and Mr. Turai, of course. And of course, dear participants, without your presence today, I don't think we'll have this forum. So really, really thank you so much. I'm not sure whether you noticed this or not. Somehow, the color scheme of our dress today somehow matches, like gray, white, like black, you know. We didn't plan this for your information, but somehow, you know, I guess this is really what about, you know, peaceful coexistence, harmoniously, yeah. And so this morning, I'm deeply humbled to have this opportunity to speak alongside 2 distinguished panelists, as you have heard from them, on a subject that is profoundly close to my heart, peace and harmonious coexistence. These are not merely lofty ideals to aspire to, but fundamental principles essential for our survival and collective flourishing as human beings. I would like to begin my sharing by some of my personal reflections on one of the many, many underlying barriers that hinder people from coming together to live peacefully and coexist harmoniously. And my thoughts are shaped by my own research, my own observations, and my own experiences. So one of the greatest obstacles, I believe, is the stereotypes, prejudices, and biases that people carry towards one another. And these often stem from ignorance, a lack of patience, and unwillingness to listen or engage in meaningful dialogue. And too often, in an effort to feed our own egos, and we become judgmental, clinging to assumptions that reinforce our own biases. So to overcome these negative tendencies within ourselves, we must first challenge our inner negativity. So today, I would like to share some of my personal experiences as an educator and how I have worked to challenge these negative assumptions among my students. Top right. Sorry, back. Yes. So as an educator, I've had the privilege of teaching ethnic relations, a compulsory university subject, to university students for many, many years. And this course has provided me with a unique opportunity to explore how individuals from diverse backgrounds perceive and relate to one another. It has also revealed the biases and stereotypes we unconsciously carry, often shaped by our upbringing, the media portrayals, and societal narratives. So teaching this course has provided me the opportunity to help my students challenge biased perspective and guide them in unlearning misconceptions and relearning the truth about human relationships. So from my interaction with my students for almost 20 years in tertiary education, I realized biases, prejudices, stereotypes are not innate. They are learned behaviors. And once these behaviors are rooted, they can lead to discrimination, hatred, and even violence. According to a Muslim philosopher and thinker, Ibn Rushd, he said, ignorance leads to fear, fear leads to hatred, and hatred leads to violence. This is the equation. So in other words, the roots of prejudice and hatred often stem from fear, fear of the unknown, fear of the unfamiliar, and fear of the other. And this fear arises from a lack of information and a lack of understanding about others. So in my classes, I often use this illustration to show how fear fuels ignorance, which eventually leads to hatred and violence. This is why it is so crucial to get to know one another and develop the ability to look beyond superficial differences. By doing so, we can actually recognize our shared humanity that unites all of us. It is also essential to acknowledge that people from different ethnicities, nationalities, and religious backgrounds, of course, they have their own unique cultures and traditions. The key is not to criticize these differences, but to learn about them and cultivate respect for them. So this understanding is the foundation for building a truly harmonious and inclusive society. And despite all our differences, it is also important to recognize how interconnected our lives are, and how we actually owe so much to one another for making our lives meaningful, often without even realizing it. So to illustrate this, I hope it will make you hungry. Lunchtime is still, almost lunchtime. So I frequently use this analogy of nasi lemak, a beloved Malaysian dish, in my classes. So all of us, I would like to invite you to take a look at this picture, this plate of nasi lemak. So we see rice, obviously, chicken, peanuts, cucumber, and anchovies. But have we ever paused to think about the chain of people involved in bringing this dish to our table? Now let us all look at the rice. I'm not sure this is nasi basmati or nasi pulut or whatever, but it's rice. So let's start with the rice and consider the paddy farmer, probably from Kedah, who planted the paddy. But who harvested the paddy? It could have been a Bangladeshi worker. Then maybe an Indian lorry driver might have transported the harvested paddy to the factory, where a Malay worker processed it. And after that, maybe a Chinese worker could have packed it and delivered it to the retail store. So who bought and cooked the rice for us? Perhaps an Indonesian domestic helper. And finally, who sold it at the roadside store that we bought it from? Maybe a friendly Malay auntie. Now, this is just the story of the rice. We haven't even talked about the chicken, the cucumber, the anchovies, the egg, the peanuts that we see in this this slide. So each one of these ingredients has its story of its own, and it involves its own chain of people from various backgrounds. So when we truly consider the effort behind a seemingly simple plate of nasi lemak, we realize how interconnected our lives are. We owe a debt of gratitude to the farmer, to the Bangladeshi worker, to the Indian lorry driver, to the Malay factory worker, to the Chinese retailer, to the Indonesian helper, and the Malay auntie, who all played a role in making this meal possible. So to deepen my students' understanding of the nasi lemak example, and to challenge their pre-existing biases and stereotypes, I took it a step further. I asked my students in the class to reflect on moments in their lives, spanning the past 19, 20 years of their lives, when someone from a different ethnicity or background had showed them some kindness. So my students actually took time to think deeply, and they wrote down their own experiences as they ponder and shared them in class. I made each one of them share the experience in class. And many were moved to tears as they recounted these heartfelt stories, realizing the profound connections that transcend superficial differences. So today, I would like to take this amazing opportunity as we learn about peace and coexistence, harmonious coexistence. I would like to share a few stories that have deeply touched their hearts as well as mine. I will share their accounts verbatim so that we can fully appreciate the emotions and perspective my students have shared. Wait. The first story. This story may not be impactful to others, but it is very meaningful to me, and I treasure it until today. It was a sunny evening, and I was waiting for my dad at this small playground in front of my daily religious school, or better known as Kafar. The school usually ends at 6 p.m., but considering that it was Ramadan, we were dismissed an hour earlier. It was already 5:40 p.m., and all the teachers and students had left the school. My father was supposed to pick me up, but he is a forgetful man. I started to feel scared and teary. Slowly, while dragging my heavy bag, I walked to the pavement outside my school compound. The road was very, very busy. I became even more teary. Everyone seemed to be rushing home to prepare for iftar, and I noticed an Indian lady selling snacks across the road. With tears streaming down my face, I decided to try to cross the road to reach her. Well, she looked kind enough, and I only wanted to borrow her phone to call my father. Cars were everywhere, and as a very timid 9-year-old, I didn't dare to cross the road. So I sat down on the pavement and cried. Somehow, the Indian lady noticed me crying and crossed the road to reach me. She asked why I was still there, and through my sobs, I explained to her that I wanted to borrow her phone. She quickly agreed to call my father and even spoke to him on my behalf because I was crying so much that I couldn't speak properly. As it turned out, my father had indeed forgotten. Even so, the kind lady sat next to me until my father arrived. It may not seem like a significant story, but to a crying 9-year-old girl, that lady was a hero. I will forever be grateful for her kind heart. This is the first story. The second story. I grew up in a single mother family since my father passed away when I was 12 years old. Thank you. Our love for our father made us save all the things he used while he was alive. We even kept his mobile number and saved his phone number. My brother used our father's phone number while he was studying at university. Some situation arose that made my brother purchase another SIM card for himself. As time passed, his need to use my father's phone number decreased. Eventually, the number was terminated as it wasn't activated for a long time and we lost it. My mother is a sentimental person, so losing the number felt devastating. So we tried contacting the call center but couldn't retrieve it. Everyone in my family attempted to call the number at least once a day. Months passed with no response, and it felt like we have lost our father all over again. Then something unexpected happened. One day, when my mom tried calling the number again, a Malay boy answered. At first, he hung up when my mother tried to explain why we were calling. We kept trying, and finally, his mother picked up. She asked why we were calling, and we explained everything, sharing how much the number meant to us. The Malay auntie was incredibly kind and offered to help. She traveled all the way from Kedah to Ipoh with her family just to meet us. She said she felt deeply touched when she heard our story. Finally, the number was transferred under my name, and I've been using it ever since. In the end, we gained a new Malay family as friends. We began exchanging Hari Raya and Deepavali greeting cards with them. This story may seem insignificant to some, but to us, especially me, I will never forget what the Malay family did for us and will always be grateful to them. And the last story. I have been a badminton player my whole life. When I was 13, I received an offer to join the Bukit Jalil Sports School and be part of the National Junior Badminton Program. In my second year, an accident occurred that changed everything. My right eye was hit by a shuttlecock. when I went to the doctor for a checkup, and she confirmed that my vision would be permanently affected. She told me that I could no longer play badminton. I sought advice from my coach, Mr. Yogendran Krishnan. He told me not to quit and assured me that he would support and guide me throughout the recovery process. He even gave up his playing career to become my full-time coach. For 8 months, he trained me patiently until I was able to play at the same level as before. Additionally, when I participated in local tournaments, other badminton players and their parents from different races and ethnicities would often ask about my eye. Their parents would frequently suggest various medications and treatments, hoping to help me recover my vision. Although none of these treatments worked for me, I'm forever blessed by their pure intentions, even knowing that I might one day become their child's driver on the court. I'm a Chinese. My coach is an Indian. But that didn't matter at all. So these stories illustrate the profound capacity all humans have for showing compassion, care, and love towards one another. They remind us that empathy and connection are not bound by cultural or racial lines, but are universal traits that reside within us. So through these stories, my students have undergone powerful transformations, unlearning biases, prejudices, and stereotypes they might have inherited from their upbringing or environment. My students have even shared what they've learned with their families, which help to dismantle the prejudice their family members may have. And I believe these lessons will also influence the way they raise their own children in the future. Just as Dr. Daisaku Ikeda often reminds us, a great human revolution in just a single individual will help achieve a change in the destiny of a nation and further will enable a change in the destiny of humankind. I am proud and confident that each of my students will be a source of peace and positive change, creating a ripple effect in their communities and the world around them. Now, moving from awareness to action, to ensure that these stories are shared widely, I have collaborated with an NGO founded by a group of youth. Through my discussion with them, we decided to transform all the written stories of my students into illustrations. The illustrations you saw in earlier slides were actually illustrated by this NGO. And these stories and illustrations are then shared on their Facebook page, which has now close to 3,000 followers. From a single class of 80 students, the message now reaches 3,000 others. And I'm sure if each of these 3,000 students were to share with one another person, that number will escalate to 6,000 and more. So what's truly significant is that this initiative counters the negative narratives of conflict and hatred that often dominate the media, as what Mr. Tura has just mentioned. These stories and narratives aims to create and amplify the positive narrative, one that demonstrates humanity's profound capacity to coexist harmoniously. In fact, the truth is, it is not human nature to fight. According to Professor Ferguson, a professor of anthropology at Rutgers University in Newark, he said, "There is no scientific proof that humans are hardwired to go to war. War," he says, "may not be in our nature at all." And he continues, if the idea that war is part of human nature is not scientifically supported, alternative futures open up. If more people work for prevention, the eventual eradication of war is a definite theoretical possibility. So our challenge is in fostering peace and harmonious coexistence lies in raising awareness that fighting is not inherent in human nature. Living harmoniously is. It is our lack of understanding, coupled with inner negativity, fueled by ego, greed, and ignorance, that breeds fear and hatred, ultimately leading to violence and conflict. Now, it is the time for humanity to rediscover our true essence, our true potential. One of the most powerful ways to achieve this is through education, both formal and informal. As for me, Personally, as been introduced by Dr. Boy, I'm now working at an international school, Soka International School, Malaysia, a secondary school with students from 10 different nationalities, ranging in age from 11 to 17 years old. It is a global community, and I am glad that these students can learn in such a diverse environment at such a young age. It is challenging, especially for those who never had the chance to experience living with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, speaking different languages. But it is this opportunity that allows them to learn, understand, and develop the characteristic of a global citizen. The school founder, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, has given the students of this school a school motto, that is to be a genuine learner and to be a global citizen. This is important because one cannot be a global citizen without first being a genuine learner, someone who genuinely wants to learn about and understand others. Dr. Ikeda has also provided very clear guidelines, which we call the school founding principles, on the kind of characteristic that our students need to develop as global citizens. They are, firstly, be global citizens of wisdom, dedicated to learning. Be global citizens of courage, who joyfully embrace diversity for mutual growth. And be global citizens of compassion, who expand a network of friendship throughout the world. Now, these clear guidelines help students to thoroughly challenge their own negativity and stereotypes of one another, guiding them to learn from one another and joyfully embrace diversity for mutual growth, seeing diversity as an asset instead of a threat, and to have the compassion to expand their network of friendships throughout the world. It is only through such character development and friendships forged across the world among these young students, whom will be our future leaders, that we will be able to see and achieve harmonious coexistence among humanity and restore a peaceful world. So to conclude, I would like to share a video that I often show in my class. It feels like I'm having another lecture here, my class, my students. It serves as a powerful reminder to awaken ourselves from the foolishness and arrogance of labeling others, harboring resentment and fostering hatred. This video challenges biases and stereotypes, inspiring us to embrace peace and coexist harmoniously. And I hope you find it meaningful. Please enjoy.
This is Ah Wong.
Hey, you Budaga, huh? I don't care. You have to pay for my car. What's your number? How can you drive?
Ah Wong is not a happy man.
Tissue. No. He's not really blind one. Boss. What do you want? Hey. Lobo, faster go inside.
And no one ever escapes his judgmental eye.
I sent you to school for what? To fail? Go study. Dinner late again. What kind of wife?
Yes, Ah Wong has issues. And he's never happy because he only sees things his way.
Kejadian yang aneh di seluruh kawasan lembah.
But one day, something strange happened. You'll never believe it. Ah Wong gets a visit from his younger self.
I know you. I know you did this. Whatever you want, I'm not interested. So, go away.
Not until I show you something.
Now, you're going to show me a...
Just watch. You see this uncle? He lost his wife the night before.
How I know? He never tell me.
And this uncle,
It's not really one.
he never sell tissues for himself only. Him, that day is his daughter's birthday. Now it's over. And our boy, what he's going through, you had no idea. And the love of your life,
Dinner late again. What kind of wife? Enough. Enough!
One more video, please.
Why are you reminding me of this? Why?
Because we can be happy. And that can only happen when you reach out to others. Trust me.
Boy? Boy?
Huh? Yes, Pa.
What are you doing?
I'm watching anime.
Can I see?
Sure.
Do you know, I'm also manga fan when I young.
Really?
Yeah.
You? Manga?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's about a boy who wanted to become a...
Ah, look at that. Awong is actually smiling.
Papa,
All it took
Sim Sifa.
was a little step to reach out to others. So we've come to the end of this story with a message to share. And it's this: we're never truly free until we are free from our own judgment. And that can only happen when we open our hearts to those around us.
By the way, I'm not promoting DG, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wendy. That was a very touching talk, your talk, and sharing all those experiences, as well as the very touching video. Thank you so much. I'm sure everyone is deeply touched, and we've learned so much from all our speakers. I'm afraid because of the time, we probably don't have any time for Q&A. I'm so sorry. But we've heard beautiful discussions from all our speakers. Please feel free also after this to have a chat. I'm sure our speakers will be very happy to respond later on individually. Reach out about any questions you may have. I just want to say I'm deeply grateful that we have had a beautiful talk from Prof. Khatijah and Dr. Alwani on wasatiyah, on the importance of moderation, the middle way, and also further emphasized by Dr. Alwani on how important it is to apply that wasatiyah in our behavior. So it's not just a theory. It's important to apply that to our behavior. And also how important it is, as Mr. Turai was emphasizing, to actually recognize the beauty in every faith, every philosophy, every human being, the dignity in each person, and that each person is actually reflecting the ultimate truth in his or her own way. And Mr. Turai reminds us of the importance of remembering Malaysia's roots, the Rukun Negara. Yeah. And finally, we had this beautiful sharing, very touching, of all the students' experiences and the impact it's having on everybody, and the very touching video. And I think it's not easy to summarize all that. I've tried to highlight some of the important points. I probably would have missed some of the important points, but I think one thing that really stands out from all those discussions, whatever the religion, ethnic background, the important thing is human bonds, human relationships, and friendship. Whether it is among family members, as Prof. Khatijah was saying, or among the community, as Mr. Turai was emphasizing, and teachers and students with the community. It is human bonds, human relationships that we are really required in today's society. once we can strengthen and consolidate human bonds, peace is built. And in a very simple word, human bonds means friendship. To be able to treasure our friends, to strengthen our friendship is extremely important. And in fact, this is something that our president, Mr. Ikeda, SGI president, has emphasized over and over again. In fact, in all his dialogues, what he's been trying his best to do is to establish friendships, deep friendships. And so many friendships that he has actually created over the years that he was alive with us, that it's not possible for me to summarize all of them. But let me just pick up one of them. His friendship with Dr. Majid Tehranian. Dr. Majid Tehranian is an Iranian. He's working in the United States before he passed away. But Dr. Ikeda appointed him the first director of the Toda Institute of Peace, which he founded. In other words, regardless of what his religion was, in fact, he was actually made the first director of the institute that Dr. Ikeda established in one sweep, demonstrating how Dr. Ikeda valued humanity and friendship rather than just ideology. And the dialogue that Dr. Majid Tehranian and Dr. Ikeda discussed is a beautiful one. And at the end of that dialogue, Dr. Tehranian recited a poem. This is a poem that Dr. Ikeda was given by him at the beginning when they first met. Let me read to you that poem. It says, "We met as strangers, but we became fast, feisty friends across the time and space, and speech that divide us. We forged a bond without bondage, a link without chains, a union without states in the kingdom of the spirit. Our language of the heart is sweeter than the languages of the tongue that tear us apart, bringing a joy that unites us in our yearnings for transcendence, beyond the finitude and fragility of our times, our spaces, our speeches, and our sufferings." Dr. Ikeda immediately said, "What a beautiful poem. It's a wonderful verse that beautifully summarizes our dialogue." And then Dr. Ikeda ends that dialogue by saying, "Friendship, I believe, is the most beautiful and the most precious jewel one can have in life. Friendship simply means being considerate of your friends, keeping your word, and doing the things that you promise to do. Expanding the network of friendship is to broaden the base of world peace. It may seem to be a roundabout way to peace, but in reality, that's the surest, most durable path to a world without war." Unquote. So Dr. Ikeda spends his whole life making one bond after another, encouraging his friends through speeches, he encourages through poetry, he encourages through photographs that he's taken. In fact, to Malaysia, he's given two very beautiful, among many other poetry. One, he says, "May the brilliant flower of value creation bloom to the full in Malaysia." In other words, he's hoping very much that culture, friendship blooms to the full. He also encourages us with another poem given to Malaysia. It says, "Maintain forever in your heart the life state of a king, of a monarch, like the eagle soaring and dancing through the heavens." How beautiful. So Mr. Ikeda continues to write poems like this to encourage not only Malaysians, but friends throughout the world. So one person, Esther Gress, was deeply touched by these poems, and she actually wrote a poem to Dr. Ikeda, another poem. She says, "One little word," this is Dr. Esther Gress's poem, quote, "One little word can change a world for good. One little word can change a man for good. Let's make the world change us all for the good. Let us make the bells call. All you so beautiful are writing. Let's bring together the toning chimes of peace, rung from bell towers of the world's poet." Unquote. Dr. Ikeda, when he received this poem, was deeply touched. He made a determination. He made a fresh determination that day and said, "It is my wish to join with others in treasuring the encouraging voice, carrying it to society as a whole, and making it a great force for the creation of a better life. That was Dr. Ikeda's. Dr. Ikeda died last year. He died on November the 15th, 2023. Today is a special day. Today is December the 15th, 2024, which means there's exactly 1 year and 1 month after Dr. Ikeda passed away. This morning, I had a meeting with the staff who was looking after the exhibition, and I told them how important this day was. This is a day in which we remember what Dr. Ikeda was doing. And right until his last moment on November the 15th of 2023, he did his very best to encourage. He was writing one poem after another, wholeheartedly, to encourage one friend after another. We know that because from his writings, we know that at the end of each poem, he's exhausted because he's given his whole life to creating a single poem. And each poem, although we just read it easily, is filled with the feeling and determination in his life. In fact, right until the very last day, November the 15th, 2023, he was still writing poems. I want to conclude today's session by reciting the last poem that he recited. And the last poem says, "My dear young friends around the world, as the wise guiding eyes of peace summon up the courage of a lion king to win victory after victory." That was on November 2023. I want to conclude with this because the real task begins from today. The real task of overcoming the challenges of creating harmony and peace and harmonious coexistence starts from today when we treasure each person, each friendship, each bond, as we've heard today. So with that, I want to thank all of you very much, all our speakers, and everyone online. Thank you very much. Hand over to our MC, Kang Teng. Thank you. Kang Teng.
Thank you, Professor Dato Dr. Christopher Boy, and all our distinguished speakers for such an inspiring and enlightening presentation. Soka Gakkai Malaysia would now like to present tokens of appreciation to our speakers. May I now call upon Mr. Johnny Ng, President of Soka Gakkai Malaysia, to present the souvenirs. First, we would like to invite Professor Dr. Khadijah Muhammad Hambali, alias Hambali. Next, we would like to present to Mr. Turai Chandran. Finally, to Dr. Wendy Yee.
We have also one for Dr. Awani, which we will bring back for her, who is online. Dr. Awani, you'll hear that.
Thank you. Before we conclude, we'd like to invite our speakers and moderator to join the audience for a group photo.